What's up, Raiders? TristenWulf here again, and I can't believe I forgot about this. I forgot about the Void Heroes. In this summon event, we have boosted Void Heroes. Now, you guys have probably already summoned your Void Heroes by now, but let's take a look and see who's here and who I think I'm going to go for. This is a raw look. I don't know anything about any of these heroes, so let's explore them together and see which ones I think will be good for my relatively new account. And remember, if you are a relatively new account as well, make sure you're using that QR code up in the corner or the link in the description. Download the game with my link or any other creator's link, and you will get to start out with free heroes. With my link, you will get the legendary hero Eleneril, and you will get the epic hero Tagor, and that will give you a fantastic start in this game. So don't miss out. Always use a code. If you started this game without using a code and it's only been a couple of days and you haven't spent any money yet, just log out, create a new account, just log out, use the link, create a new account, and log in and get a fresh start with that huge advantage. Now let's talk about these Void heroes, the Void legendaries and Void epics that are available. The first one we've got is Akrizia. Akrizia is an attack type dwarf hero, and whenever I see dwarf heroes I get excited because the dwarves in this game are brutal. So Akrizia has got Unflagging Assault. Attacks one enemy, has a 45% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense buff. So 45, 50, it goes up to a 60% chance when you book it out. And it's the big defense break for 2 turns. The damage of the skill increases by 10% every time the skill is used and can stack up to 100%. So you're going to want to run her kind of fast. You're going to want her to be able to take turns so that she can cycle and really ramp up the damage. A damage stacking up to 100% damage on her 10th attack. She's going to be great in long, drawn-out fights, doing more and more damage as the fight progresses. It even makes me think maybe Lifesteal set, where the healing you get's based on the damage you do, and as she hits harder, she's going to heal more, which will make her great into fights where the enemy's damage accelerates. You know, maybe I can find some uses for her in the clan bosses. We'll see. What's our other skills got? Battlefield Domination. Attacks all enemies 2 times. Places a shield buff on this champion for 2 turns. Value of the shield is equal to 5% of the champion's max HP for each critical hit. For each critical hit. So she attacks twice. And it's 5% per critical hit. So she could get a 10%. If you double crit, she could get a 10% shield buff off of this. While she's doing damage, it attacks all enemies. That's pretty good. That's some nice built-in self-survivability. Her A3 skill, Shutdown, attacks one enemy 2 times and has an 80% chance of stealing 100% of the target's turn meter before attacking. Mother of God. You know how good it is, how fast you can ramp up skills when you can steal turn meter like this. So stealing 100% of the target's turn meter. It's 80% chance, but you can book it to 100% chance. And it's on a 3-turn cooldown after you get the level 5 book in here. That's going to make her really good into boss fights. Again, I'm coming back around to maybe clan boss. I know you can't steal turn meter in clan boss though. But a lot of the other longer fights, she's going to have some really good use in. I think she's going to be pretty good, guys. What's her passive do? Decreases the damage taken from AoE attacks. If the target's HP is more than double the champion's max HP, this champion attack. So she is definitely a bossing character. So we're going to use this into dungeon fights where we're fighting high HP mobs where the fight's going to go on for a while. I like her. If I get this girl, I'm going to be happy for it. All right, who else do we have? Onryo Ieyasu. Okay, Onryo Ieyasu. You are an attack type Shadowkin. Dude, I love the look. Oh my God. Think you brought enough weapons? Okay, what do you do, Onryo? Attacks one enemy 2 times. Places an extra hit if the target is under a buff. So it's a 3-hitter if the target has a buff. Places 2 extra hits if the target is under a buff and is from the Undead Hordes faction. Interesting. So he really slams into the Undead Horde enemies. Grants an extra turn if this attack kills an enemy. Wow, so up to 4 hits, kills an enemy, and then can go again. Wild. His A2 skill, Violent Purification. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Before each hit, destroys the target's max HP by 10%. Stacking up to 50%, this effect does not work against bosses. We have a PvP hero. If you're going into a fight and the enemy drafts some undead hordes, or you're seeing an arena fight with some undead hordes, you just lock this guy in and wreck them. Damage inflicted by this skill increases 10% for each buff or debuff and debuff on the target, up to 100% buff and debuff. Much easier to stack than the other person who just increased by buffs. That's pretty cool. If the target is killed by this skill, places a block revive buff. Guys, he extincts the enemy. He kills them and they stay dead. Oh, get F Wukong. This guy looks so good. So good. Okay, what else we got? Final Vengeance. Attacks one enemy 2 times, will ignore half of the target's defense. It'll ignore Stone Skin, it'll ignore Shield, it'll ignore Strengthen. Wow. Okay. Onryo, you look like a DPS machine. I just noticed the knife in your mouth. More weapons than you can shake a stick at. For a passive, whenever this champion is attacked, all enemies except for the initial target receive damage equal to 25% of the damage dealt to the initial target. When you hit him, he reflects 25% of the damage back to all of the enemies except for the one that hit him. Whoa. This damage will ignore 100% of the enemy's defense. And the extra damage cannot be critical and will not trigger a counterattack. Wild passive. Wild passive. If you are into PvP, if you're into Arena, I think this guy looks spanking awesome. So hopefully we pick up one of him. And increases attack. Whoa, 35%. That's a fat attack bonus. That's even better than my Alice. Okay. Legendary indeed. Now we have got Leoris the Proud Lion. Okay, Mr. the Lion, what have you got for us? Your A1 skill attacks one enemy 2 times. Nice, I like 2 hitters. Each hit has a 60% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense buff. It's only 60% chance, but it's 2 hits, so that's closer to a 75% chance. You can't book it up for more, so a good chunk of RNG in this kit. Damage increases by 20% if the target has less than 60% health. So he's a good finisher unit, right? As things are hurt, he's going to do more damage. Kind of RNG on the defense break. I don't know how I feel about that A1 skill. Let's look at the A2 skill. A2 skill attacks all enemies and has a passive effect. This enemy is immune to stun, freeze, sleep, provoke, fear, true. Okay, so you can't really control him when the skill is not on cooldown. So you want to be careful about when you use this skill, because when this skill is on cooldown, he is no longer immune. And it's got a 3-turn cooldown, so it's weird. It's like it's punishing you for using his skill. Okay, Mr. Lion, show it to me on your A3. Awesome Roar attacks all enemies. 80% chance of placing True Fear. And before attacking has an 80% chance of placing a 25% weakness debuff. So 80, 89. So 100% chance after you book him. So you can do True Fear and weakness on times. Seems like a PvP hero, and I don't like his kit. There's too much randomness here. You get punished for using it here. And Fear and Weakness is nice, but unless his mods are through the roof and he does a ton of damage, I'll have to look into that later. I'm just not feeling any of these skills as a legendary hero. Let's see what his passive is. Instantly places an unkillable buff on this champion for 1 turn before receiving. You can't kill him. You kill him and then he immediately stays unkillable. So, and that refreshes every 3 rounds. That's pretty crazy. Damage increases as this champion's HP decreases 1% for every 1% of HP lost. Okay, so he can almost do double damage when he is on death's door. Very interesting. This kind of reels it back in and makes up for the kind of meh that is the rest of his kit. Looks like he could have some surgical nuking capabilities. Tricky kit to use. Tricky kit, Mr. the Lion. And, a crit rate increase. I'll be honest with you, I have not seen many 25% crit rates in all battles. That aura is spanking amazing. So any team you build around this unit, you can build easier with lower crit rate. Okay, that's very interesting. Who else do we have? That's it for the epics. Think of all of the epics, I'm leaning towards Acrisia the most. But let's take a look at the legendaries. We got 2 legendaries available, 2 void legendaries. First is Inquisitor Samael. Inquisitor Samael's A1 skill is a whole ass novel. Let's see. Attacks one enemy with a 50% chance of decreasing the duration of a random buff on the target by 1 turn. 50, 60, 65% after you book it. Attacks, and when it's ascended, has a 50% chance. Yeah, we already read that. Every time an enemy places a debuff on an ally, uses this skill against the enemy. Wow. Okay, so every time the enemy buffs, he has a 50, 60, 65% chance to remove the buff. These counteract attacks will only deal 50% of the normal damage and cannot crit, but that's okay. They're more about stripping than they are about critting. If there are multiple champions in the team with the skill, only 1 champion, so you can run multiples of them, that makes sense. So that's pretty cool, and there doesn't seem to be any condition on it. He's just going to go into people as their buff. So nice anti-hero buffing unit. His A2 skill, Cowl the Horrors. Attacks one enemy 3 times, will ignore 25% of the defense, will ignore 25% of the target's defense for each buff on this champion. Wow, so you get 3 buffs on this champion, and you've got 100% defense penetration? That's mad damage. Places True Fear debuff on all enemies for 1 turn if this attack kills an enemy, and it at 100% penetration, it damn well better kill an enemy. What's his A3 skill? Dauntless. Each critical hit in this champion fills his turn meter by 7.5%. Whenever an ally receives fear or true fear debuff from an enemy, the skill will instantly remove that debuff and fill the leader's turn meter by 15%. Wow, and he can facilitate the movement of the leader of the team. Okay, Inquisitor Samael sounds pretty freaking pog to me. I especially like the nuke potential of the A2 skill. It has a passive, Wreak Revenge. Attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance of decreasing the duration of a random buff on the target by 1 turn. Every time an enemy places a debuff on an ally, uses the skill against the enemy. These counterattacks will only deal half the normal damage. Great, great, great. If there are multiple champions on the team with this skill, only 1 champion counterattack activates. Whoo! Pretty good, guys. And for a passive, he will give you accuracy and Doom Tower. Okay. I like it. I like Inquisitor Samael, who is our last epic hero. This is what happens if you smoke while you're in bed, guys. Don't smoke while you're in bed. Wergren Suncursed. Yikes. Man, he looks tore up. Okay, what have you got for me, Mr. Wergren? Bestial Leap. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Each attack has a 30% chance of stealing 1 random buff. 30, 40, 50. Okay, so a crappier version of the Inquisitor. Nope, that's not fair. The Inquisitor's chance was to remove cooldown by 1 turn. He actually steals it, and stealing it is way more insane than what Inquisitor does because he gets the buff. So even at only a 50% chance after booking, that's a pretty sexy skill because it hits 2 times. So that's 2 30% chances or 2 50% chances. This is a good skill and one you'll want to book up. His A2 skill, Terror Assault, attacks 1 enemy 3 times. Each hit will ignore shield buffs. I love this. I love ignore shield buffs. Why don't other games do this? It's so clever. So he attacks underneath the shield, hitting the proud health under the shield without touching the shield. Places a True Fear debuff on all enemies for 1 turn if the attack kills. So killing with this, you'll get True Fear on the entire enemy team. Also places an unkillable buff on this champion for 1 turn if this attack kills an enemy. So nice, he will kill an enemy, put True Fear on the enemy team, and give himself unkillable for 1 turn. That's pretty cool. I like that. And you don't have to worry about shields getting in the way of his damage. A3 skill, Vitality Feast. Swaps HP with an enemy and then grants an extra turn. Whoa! Whoa! So if he gets really close to death, you can just target the highest health enemy on the team and reversal. Suddenly that guy's about to die and he's full health. No wonder it's on a 7-turn cooldown. That is an insane, powerful skill. One you'll want to sandbag till it's ready. Definitely want to book this out to 5 turns. This guy, I think this guy would be a devastating unit to run into a lot of PvP fights, especially when you're fighting very, very tanky units. It would be a quick way to get through very tanky units' health and get control of the fight. For a passive Prey on the Weak, deals 30% more damage against targets whose current HP is lower than this champion's current HP. So you swap out the HP, and then you can destroy the enemy target, because once you swap the HP, their HP is going to be lower than his. Okay, guys. I was a little bit torn between Shamael and Weregrin, but Weregrin just brings things to my team that nobody else has. So I think I might be going for this guy. Oof. I think it's the dwarf. Yeah, I think this is where I'm going. So wish me luck. Let me know what you guys think. Did I nail it on the head, or am I completely missing some power and glory of these other units? I'm going to do my shard pulls here in just a few minutes, so fingers crossed that something good happens. You guys have a great rest of your week, and I'll catch you next time, Raiders.